Well, this morning we're learning new accusations against the pro-Palestinian student activist who's been detained for helping lead protests at Columbia University over the past year.
That's right. The Department of Justice claims Mahmoud Khalil failed to disclose information when he applied to become a permanent resident. Good Day's Hayley Fixler is at Columbia University this morning. Hayley, what are you hearing about this?
Good morning, Dan. Shoshani. Well, that information includes what officials now reveal is his involvement in a UN agency for Palestinian refugees and his work at the Syria office in the British Embassy in Lebanon. Now, the DOJ now says that his presence and his activities pose serious foreign policy risks. So here is what we know. There have been significant allegations that some members of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency participated in the October 7th, 2023 terrorist attacks in Israel. UNRWA has fired dozens of its own staffers after an investigation into the attack. The U.S. and other countries have since halted funding to the agency. Justice Department officials say because Khalil failed to include his membership in the group and continued employment with the Syria office, that alone is grounds for deportment. Now, originally, Khalil was arrested earlier this month by immigration officers as part of President Trump's crackdown on anti-Semitic and what they call anti-American campus protests. His lawyers continue to fight his deportation. About the new allegations, they say, quote, the government scrambled to add them at the 11th hour, only highlights how its motivation from the start was to retaliate against Mr. Khalil for his protected speech in support of Palestinian rights and lives. Khalil is next due in court April 8th. Now, these protests caused the university to lose $400 million in federal funding. The encampments and the building takeovers caused chaos on campus. The Trump administration demanded several changes in order to regain the money. Now, those policy changes include enforcing disciplinary policies like expulsion and suspensions, mask bans, and reviewing the Middle East Studies program. Now, yesterday, the education secretary announced the university is on track to get the funding back. Take a listen.
I have had such great conversations with Dr. Armstrong, Katrina Armstrong, and we have gotten now to that first level. Columbia has agreed. There were about 9 things we put in place. When she and I met, she said she knew that this was her responsibility to make sure that children on her campus were safe. She wanted to make sure there was no discrimination of any kind. She wanted to address any systemic issues that were identified relative to the anti-Semitism on campus, and they have worked very hard in a very short period of time.
The interim Columbia University president says that these changes are not a reaction to federal pressure. Now, here at Columbia later this afternoon, we know a group has organized what they are calling a vigil in response to what they say are Columbia's concessions to the Trump administration. We also know that a Palestinian solidarity group here at the university is also encouraging people to wear masks in response to this mask ban. Live in Morningside Heights, Dan, Shoshani.